Okay, the virtual dissection of the frog. This is covering just the digestive system. So, when you're looking at the digestive system, there are also accessory organs to the digestive tract. So, the digestive tract is the pathway of the food itself, and the digestive system includes organs that produce enzymes that the food never passes through them. So the food does not pass through the liver, but the liver plays a role in dissection by producing bile, which is stored in the gallbladder and is used to help break down fats. So with this, you can see that the liver is pretty big. The liver produces glycogen and a fat dissolving substance called bile made from old blood cells. This liver, if you were looking inside of a frog, I would say that this gigantic three-lobed liver kind of sort of looks like some type of fungus to me. It looks like parts of a mushroom. Now, underside of it is the gallbladder. Now, this gallbladder is usually associated with the color green. This is where the bile is stored. In the frog dissection, sometimes the gallbladder is completely deflated. Sometimes it's not green, but sometimes it's full of bile. So if you poke it with one of your dissecting tools, it's going to squirt out. Now, another one of these accessory organs that's not a part of the tract of the food, the digestive tract of the food itself, is the pancreas. Now, the pancreas, we can see over here, says as needed, acid neutralizing enzymes from the tiny pancreas, along with the bile, move through a duct to the duodenum for digestion. So that's a part of the small intestine. So you can call it duodenum or duodenum. I've heard it both ways. And so the pancreas itself is doesn't look like a big separate organs. It looks kind of like a thickened piece of skin, and it's in this kind of skin that holds all the organs, so they don't move around. And we're looking at here the stomach. So if you find the stomach and you see the skin that holds all the organs together, the thickened piece of it is the pancreas. So, in order to see the organs underneath, you probably need to cut out the liver. So, to do this, anytime you're cutting anything, you should be using tweezers, the forceps, instead of your fingers to hold the liver while you cut or slice it out using the scalpel. Um, Now you can see that the stomach is exposed. The stomach is kind of cashew shaped. Now, digestion itself in the frog starts just like it does in a human. It starts in the mouth. And in the mouth, you can see the roof of the mouth. Now, it does take a little bit of work here to open the mouth completely. So you need to kind of wiggle one of your probes into the mouth, put your scissors in, and snip it at the jawline so that you can completely open it. We could see that the front hinge tongue first flips live food into the gullet. It flips outward, which is different from our tongue. It's attached at the front. Our tongue is attached at the back. So that's different. Um, the frog has two teeth or two types of teeth. There's a little rim of little bumpy teeth along the edge called maxillary teeth, and then two teeth for grasping. You can see them right there. Here are the internal nostrils or nares, and there are the teeth. They're called vomerine. These big bulges that you see right here, that's where the eyes are. And then we have the entrance for the food. So the entrance for the food is at the back of the throat. It's an area called the gullet. So there's actually two entrances at the back of the throat. The gullet is for the food, and the glottis is for the oxygen. So the gullet entrance is going to take the food into the esophagus. So you can't really see the esophagus here, but the esophagus is a muscular tube and uses peristalsis, which are muscle contractions, to then move the food to the stomach. So if you want to see the esophagus, you'll have to cut through this little bit of skin there to get to it. Well, skin and muscle and everything else. At the stomach, food is broken down in two ways. There's hydrochloric acid, so a part of the gastric juices that does a chemical breakdown of the food. And then there's the peristalsis, that rhythmical movement that's going to mechanically break down the food. So it's kind of like when your stomach churns and when it moves. So this is the stomach. It is then stored until the pylorus allows it to enter the small intestine via the duodenum. Now, the pylorus is just a sphincter, so it's almost kind of like a little tightening spot, and it allows little bits and pieces of what is left, kind of like this liquefied food, to enter into the small intestine. Now, once in the small intestine, and the small intestine is called small because of its diameter. It's skinny, but it's really, really long. You have to be careful if you unwind it to measure it because it is kind of tied up in this internal skin. The small intestine then absorbs the nutrients from the mixture through tiny capillary field projections called villi. So the villi are little projections. Um, they kind of look like a donut or a bagel in this picture, but they're not really. So there's a capillary that's going to be here. And this increases surface area for more absorption of the nutrients. Then the leftovers of the mixture, so the waste, enter the large intestine, and the large is called large, but again, because of its diameter. So it's really thick and usually full of waste, but it's really, really short. So it enters the large intestine where the water is absorbed out of it, and then it finally exits out the cloaca in the back of the frog. So the cloaca is kind of here. It's more of kind of the maybe a canal than I would say a tube. So if you cut through this area here of the skin of the muscle, you can probably notice the cloaca. So you can cut the stomach out. So again, holding it with tweezers while you use your scissors, but you have more control of scissors than you do a scalpel, and take that out. You can have a piece of paper towel off to the side on your table to place the organs. And it shows pinning this down, but if you put it on the table, you can't pin it down. You can pin it down if you do it in the dissecting pan, but if you're just going to leave it on the table on a piece of paper towel, then just have someone hold it with the tweezers, and then you can cut it. Now, I think the easiest way to cut it is to start up at the top, kind of wiggle your scissors in there, and then cut downward, and then you can open it up. You may or may not find something in it. Sometimes uh, whatever it was that they ate has been so digested that it doesn't look like anything. But you can find insects, you can find bug parts, you can find exoskeletons, you can find insect legs. We've even found crayfish in the frog.